Keanu Reeves wasn't planning to stand out that day. Despite being one of the world's most recognizable movie stars, he preferred living a quiet, low-key life when he wasn't in front of the camera. Keanu had always believed that true wealth wasn't about money or fame, but about making meaningful connections with the world and the people around him. On a breezy afternoon, Keanu decided to take a casual stroll through a neighborhood he'd never been to before. The area was unassuming, filled with mom-and-pop shops and small businesses that exuded charm and authenticity. These were the places Keanu loved most. Away from the flashing cameras and lavish red carpets, he found solace in the simple and genuine interactions these places offered. As he wandered down the street, his eyes fell on a quaint little general store. Its faded sign read, "Millie's Market," and it had an old-fashioned charm that immediately drew him in. The bell above the door jingled as he stepped inside, the sound reminiscent of a simpler time. The smell of freshly baked bread mingled with the scent of wooden shelves that had likely been there for decades. Keanu scanned the aisles, taking in the array of goods. There were jars of homemade jams, hand-woven baskets, and even a small rack of books by local authors. It was the kind of store that felt like the heart of a community. He smiled as he picked up a jar of honey, admiring the handwritten label. But his peaceful moment was interrupted by the sound of raised voices near the register. Keanu instinctively turned his head toward the commotion. At the front of the store, a family of 3 stood nervously before the counter. The mother, dressed in a simple but clean outfit, held her young daughter's hand tightly. The father stood beside them, his shoulders slightly hunched, as if bracing himself for what was to come. The little girl, no older than 6, clutched a worn stuffed bear to her chest, her wide eyes filled with confusion and fear. Across from them stood the store owner, a middle-aged man with a stern expression. His voice boomed through the store, filled with irritation and disdain. "I told you people not to come back here," he barked, pointing an accusatory finger at the family. "This is a business, not a soup kitchen. If you can't pay, you have no right to be here." The father raised his hands in a gesture of appeasement. "Sir, we're not asking for charity. We just need a loaf of bread and some milk for our daughter. I promise we'll pay you back as soon as I get my next paycheck." The store owner crossed his arms, his lips curling into a sneer. "I've heard that one before. You think I'm running this place out of the goodness of my heart? Get out before I call the police." The mother's eyes filled with tears as she tried to plead. "Please, sir, we're just trying to feed our little girl. She hasn't eaten all day." The little girl tugged on her mother's sleeve and whispered, "Mommy, I'm hungry." Her tiny voice was barely audible, but it carried the weight of desperation. Keanu felt a surge of anger rise within him. He had always believed in the importance of compassion and kindness, and what he was witnessing went against everything he stood for. Without a second thought, he stepped forward. "Is there a problem here?" Keanu's voice was calm, but carried an undeniable authority. The store owner turned to him, his expression shifting from annoyance to confusion. "This doesn't concern you," the man snapped, though his tone lacked its earlier bravado. "These people are trying to take advantage of me. If they can't pay, they shouldn't be here." Keanu tilted his head slightly, his piercing gaze locking onto the store owner. "And yelling at them in front of their child makes you feel better about yourself?" The store owner stammered, momentarily lost for words. I'm just protecting my business," he finally managed to say. Keanu turned to the family, his expression softening. "How much do you need to get what you came for?" The father hesitated, clearly embarrassed. "It's just a loaf of bread and some milk, maybe $10. Without a word, Keanu pulled out his wallet and handed the store owner a crisp $100 bill. "This should cover it," he said, "and anything else they might need." The store owner's eyes widened as he realized who was standing in front of him. "Wait, you're Keanu Reeves." Keanu gave a small, almost shy smile. but didn't acknowledge the statement. Instead, he addressed the family. "Go ahead and get what you need. Take your time." The mother and father looked at him, their eyes brimming with gratitude. "Thank you," the mother whispered, her voice shaking. "You don't know what this means to us." The little girl looked up at Keanu with a shy smile. "Thank you, mister," she said softly. Keanu knelt down to her level, his kind eyes meeting hers. "What's your bear's name?" he asked. "Mr. Fuzzy," she replied, her voice gaining a bit more confidence. "Well, Mr. Fuzzy is lucky to have such a brave friend like you," Keanu said, gently patting the bear's head. As the family finished their shopping, Keanu turned back to the store owner. "You know," he said, his tone calm but firm, "you never know what someone else is going through. A little kindness can go a long way." The store owner looked down, his face flushed with embarrassment. He mumbled something under his breath, but Keanu didn't press him. The message had been delivered, and that was enough. After the family left, Keanu quietly paid for their groceries and even left a generous tip for the cashier. As he walked out of the store, the little girl waved at him from the sidewalk. "Bye, mister," she called out, her smile brighter than the sun. Keanu waved back, his heart full. He didn't do it for the recognition or the gratitude. He did it because it was the right thing to do. The store owner, deeply affected by the encounter, spent the rest of the day reflecting on his actions. The next morning, he put up a new sign in his window. "Kindness is always welcome here." Keanu Reeves continued his walk, blending back into the crowd as if nothing had happened. But for one family, he would forever be their guardian angel, the stranger who stepped in when they needed it most. Share your thought in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to my channel. I pour my heart into crafting stories like this for you, and your support is the one helps me keep going. I appreciate having you on this journey,